So, hello everyone. Today I'm gonna show you how to create the auto material for your landscape, also how to work with the Landmass plugin that is supplied with Epic. It's very useful and you can achieve very beautiful and quite realistic results with it, so your landscape will look more natural. Well, first of all, let's take a quick look at how my final material actually look like. I use material functions a lot because they are quite helpful when I need to reuse some stuff. Also, the readability of your blueprint or material is much more better. So as you can see, this part here is for blending layers, or I'd like to say that my layers are actually some sort of material functions that store material attributes, and this one is for possessing the grass for the particular layer. For this example, I have 4 main layers: soil, rock, sand and snow. Also, one layer is auto material. You can go along with this setup. I found myself this actually covering more cases that I need. Well, it depends on your needs. Also, I'd like to note that for this moment I haven't found a pretty good solution for using physical materials inside auto material. It doesn't handle right, but when it comes time, I guess maybe Epic will support it in a better way, or I'll find a solution somehow. So if you want to have physical materials supported with the auto material, you should probably do the following: apply auto material, then with some sort of brush just overpaint the physical material on the proper areas. Well, let's actually start with me explaining how the overall feature works, and then I'll show you each material function more closely. So here the first part is for blending 2 layers, soil and grass, and this blend is based on the height. Next comes simple blend also with the rock sample, and this blend is supported with the slope blending. Next and the last is simple blend with the snow layer, and it's based on the combination of two mechanics. It's slope and also high blending. And then simple layer blend function to mix it all. The first element by default should be the auto material, and all other are actually our manual layers, and the way how they should be applied is up to you to decide. It's right up here. Should it be wave blend or no wave blend? Should they combine, or one should overdraw another? It's all about your choice. Next, this one is for mixing, as you can see here, auto grass and manual grass elements. You can't use the same setup for one grass element. For instance, if I want to have my auto layer applied with the particular logic and then have overpaint the grass with another layer so the grass will appear on it, I just can't go like, no, well, I can't use it like this. I need to make more unreal logic. So I found the solution for me more suitable is to use two layer blends. They are actually the same that I have here, and grass auto, grass manual are actually the same assets. So when I paint the grass with my manual brushes, my manual layer brushes, they'll restore the grass on auto material if it's painted on it. All you need is to have the same setup for both your landscape grass types. So once you've done your research and you know what type of grass you will have, just duplicate it and use as the manual one. I know it's not ideal setup, but in case of some simple layer, support is, as I think, more or less confusing. Now, let's start with the function about high blending. Here you can see it, it's quite simple. We should mask the world position on the B channel, so it's like our height. Then we subtract from it the particular value, which is also divided by 2, so we can have like the upper and the lower values from the center of our band, from the center of where we subtract, so we can have the smooth transition between our bottom and our current layers. So just like this. Make sure that you set your function inputs to a proper input type. It's simple scalars. Now, another material function is for slow blending. It's here. Also, we use vertex normal world space, mask on B channel to achieve actually the height values of our I'm sorry guys, it's like 5 AM in the morning. I'm a little bit tired. Not tired, but I just woke up and I knew that the time has come so for me to record the new tutorial. So nevertheless, mask on B channel. Then we saturate it, so we will have normalized vector, and we multiply it by the proper particular value, which is actually we use 1 minus. So the logic is pretty simple. If we have like slopes are going from 0 to 90 degrees, so it's fully perpendicular to our ground, we need to represent it into the 0 and 1 dimension. For this, we can go with like 0 is 0, 1 is 90, so 0.5 it's 45 degrees, and 0.25 is 67 and 5 degrees. So logic behind this is pretty simple. So in case we have the slope angle, for instance, 0.5, then we use 1 minus, so we will have also 0.5. Then we divide it. Then we divide 1 by this value and multiply it on our vertex normal. So then we will receive the normalized angle for our slope blending. Then we should invert our mask, and I have power here, so we can have like more sharp or more smooth transition between the area we will receive. And going back here, now I'll explain you each this particular layer. For instance, let's go with material layer soil. If I open it, you can see that inside I have another material function. Actually, all the layers here have the same layout. Here, here. So let's start with the main function for blending all our textures. Let's wait for shaders to compile, so the editor won't lag, and that's what we have here. Right now I have blending based on two attributes. It's the base color and normal map. Also, you can go with more amounts of elements here with the displacement map and so on, but as I said, it's the basic feature. You can expand yourself, but the results are pretty much good. So, landscape layer. These variations of texture sample for both this one and this one, in both cases, are some sorts of macro variation. So we will receive the proper results when viewing our landscape from close look and from the far view. So make sure you have duplicated the base color here and here, and the normal map here and here. Then this one is for the linear tile, this one is for far tiling. I use landscape coordinates divided by the proper value here, so I can receive the proper scale for each of my texture, and I supply my texture samples with this result in UV pins. Here is the scalar attribute, not actually scale, but it's texture 2D. So when I have all my layers aligned, inside my material instance of landscape, I can quickly change the textures. So I'll find the proper one to suit my landscape more. So please do this and make sure you have connected it to the texture input of your texture sample. The same for the normal map. It's also texture 2D here, like this one. The same logic. Make sure that texture samples for the base color are set to sample as color, and for normal map as the normal map. Next is simple distance blends based on our distance that we are providing. It's simple scalar. Learn between each proper element and add it to material attributes. Also, I should notice that to have the material attributes, let's go to back to our main material. To achieve the material attributes node here, you need to select use material attributes here down in the details panel. So now you'll have this layout. So once it's done, you can create this type of functions for each layer, and inside of it you should add the material function, this one that we created, and supply it with the proper attributes. Here you can see I have the texture object, and it's set to be parameter. It's for the base color. This one is for the normal map. Also make sure that sample is set to proper one. So if it's base color, it's color. If it's normal map, it's normal map. In case you don't do this, your material will be broken. Also, as you can see, I have this one under the group soil layer, this one also soil layer, and each element here have its own proper sort priority. This needs to have some sort of this layout in your material instance. So each attribute is grouped by a certain rule. Like for layers, it's this one. For slow blending, it's this layout. For high blend, it's this layout. So go with the one you like more. Also, for soil, grass and snow, this setup is the same, but in case we have some sharp cliffs, we need to actually change some attributes here for the correct vertical tiling. And I'll show you one more material function. I name it landscape layer wall aligned. Don't make much noise about these errors, it's just because I don't have the default preview value, so that's why the material function is screaming. But when you provide your material function with the proper elements, it will be okay. So as you can see, the world aligned material function looks the same as the base function, but here I use world aligned texture and world aligned normal high quality functions. So it's all for the sake of the proper tiling on your slopes. The same setup: near tile, far tile, normal, albedo. Just take a quick look at how it's set. Here is the setup for the macro variation. Also make sure that the world align normal here is supported with the vector 3 input, so you can adjust that tiling in case you don't like the result that AutoMaterial will give you. And XYZ textures on all of our material functions, so it will work properly. And this one is used only in the material layer of rock. Like this. Here you can see that I use multiply by the proper value here, because to have my attributes here in the same, so the amount that's of the dimension of the values I provide here are the same as I have here, so there won't be any difference in these particular dimensions of my attributes. Also, I use make 3 floors, and you can see I have 2 more attributes: rock near tile Z and rock far tile Z. So it's, as I said, for the sake of, if you don't like the tiling on your vertical slope, so you can adjust it and it will be tiled more precisely. Also make sure that, as I said, base and normal samplers are set here. Don't forget. To create the texture object, just need to have texture sample, then right click, there you will see convert to texture object, and then one more right click and then convert to parameter. Now it's texture object but parameter. Sample type also here. Now when your layers are set, you need to add them here and do the following: blend in the following order. For the proper snow blending, this logic is actually needed, because at the certain point we will have like high from where our snow should start covering our landscape. Then we multiply it by the slope. We use the same function here like we have it when blending with our rock layer, but hardness here should be set to 1. I'm sorry guys, I need to open my cat from the bathroom, so I will stop it for the moment. So I'm back here. As I said, hardness here it should set to 1, because I need to not overuse, but override it for the whole these operations here. So in case not to rewrite the full function like this, so I provide power 1 here, so this attribute have no power, and like this. I also need to use 1 minus to invert the mask, so the snow will be covering not the slopes, but the slopes with another values, so the result will be more like in real life. So for this sake, I just need to invert the mask. Then I multiply it by our high blend, saturate to have the value from 0 to 1, and as you can see, all these operations here are saturated because this blend is just need to be from 0 to 1. Now necessary to have some artifact when blending between two layers. And here is power. So right now my blend with the snow material will be proper. Now let's take a look at the grass output. As I said earlier, you need to have two similar grass type assets with the same assets inside. So when you start drawing with your manual brush on the outer material layer, for instance, you draw the road, then you need to, I don't know, maybe to revert some changes or to overdraw it with some grass. So you can use the grass layer instead of overpainting it with the outer material one. Now, these layer blends node here are the same as we have here. And here's the tricky part. We use high blends from the soil grass, this one, but I don't need to have grass on on the areas where the grass paint is, like the weight of grass paint is not actually 100, so I don't need any high fall off. For this case I use 0 as the high fall off for this layer, so my grass will be located only on that part that I need. It will be more clear. And then I use this mask, and this one is the same that we have here for the, here for our snow blending, and multiplying these two masks and using 1 minus, we will receive the area between our snow area and our sand area. So the grass will be like in between two layers. So that's what I need. And the final result is multiplied by the proper angle calculations, because I don't need to have the grass on auto material applied on the very sharp slopes. For this, I use this operation. Also, hardness here should set to be 1, and it's only for the rock layer, because this operation already discards the grass being applied on the snow. Here is the grass angle threshold, so if the result of my computations here are higher than my grass threshold, the grass won't be applied, because we will return 0, and 0 multiplied by this one will also return 0. If this value is less than our threshold, we set it to 1, and we will paint the grass on the slope. Here is the variation for when we want to paint the grass on all other layers. It will receive like the full power of our layer, and our brush will actually override the layer underneath, and our grass will be applied. This here and this are two different type of data. Well, they are floats, but the difference in between them are huge. So I found myself more suitable to just have this setup instead of converting this one in something like this one, so the blending won't ruin. And I guess let me have a quick overlook of what I've done here. That's all for the setup of the materials. Now I'll show you the workflow with what we have created right now. So when you create your landscape material, then you create your instance, you should add your landscape, and when you press paint and your landscape is set here, you will receive these layers. By default, each layer won't have any layer info, so just press create layer info and it will store it in such folder: name of your map and shared assets. Each layer here can be modified. You can add physical materials in each of them. Next, right now the values I have in my instance here will actually produce the result you can see. Well, I hope shaders won't go too crazy. Let's take a quick look of how it works. So this is the auto material. Now I select soil and start painting. And as you can see, my grass is removed. Like this. If I use rock layer, here, it also reduces our grass. The same for the snow. So, you can play around with some values inside your material, so even this particular artifacts won't exist. And if you take a look at, I'm sorry, not this one, but this one, layer usages, you'll see that this layer, or this landscape chunk, if I can say so, have 4 layers inside, whether all other, only one, the auto material. Now, if I start using auto layer brush, this one will remove my layers here, and you can see that we have overpainted grass here. Everything looks fine. But if we don't make this operation here, when we use our grass, now it will work properly. You can see our grass is restored, but this element here now is the grass layer, and this one is auto material. So you need to do your work more carefully. So right now it's painted properly, but the area here is auto material, the area inside this is the grass layer. Now I use the Landmass plugin. You can find it, I guess, in plugins here. Yes, you need to check it in case you want to use blueprint brushes to achieve the result you can see here. In case I select my landscape custom brush here, you can see that it's the simple spline element. So once you activated your plugin, you should go to landscape, then use sculpt, select blueprint, and assign custom brush landmass. Once it's done, just click on any area and it will add the base shape. Here you can see the basic setup. You can move it. You can select each point and work with it like this. You can scale it. Also make sure to see what brush type you use. By default it's Landmass outline, so it works like creating the closed shape. You can go with spline mesh, and now it will work like the spline. And in the case of spline, you can adjust each point, so you will receive different results. In the case of landmass outline, changing points position won't affect anything. So in case of landscape outline, you can just go with the basic gizmo control over it. I won't cover all of these brush types. You can read how they work on the official documentation. I'll just show you how the workflow with my auto material actually works. Here you can change the angle of your slopes, and as you can see, changing it to some values higher than 45, like this, the texture. So it's cliff and it's aligned properly. Now, if you take a look at world normal, you can see that it's aligned perfectly. Also, please play around with your values here for each layer, so you will find the one which suits you most. And as you can see, like we look in a closer look, it's one layout, and here it's another one, so it tiles perfectly. And I like the result. Also, you can use cap shape to create some sort of roads. Using blend mode will work in different ways. Alpha blend, it's like blending with the other one by the shape. Using minimum will only affect the dimensions under the 1. Maximum will work only with the positive values, and additive will work with the same, with the all dimensions, with -1 and with +1, but it will return the, like, if you have here 0 and here you have 1, and you add 1, you will receive 1 and 2 here. Also, you can duplicate your brushes with Ctrl W, and then you can combine it to actually make different shapes, like this. It works perfectly with the brushes, in case you want to paint something with the brush. But let's continue with our workflow. spline mesh, static mesh, it's up to you to decide whether you use it or not. Spline mesh can be used to make some roads, but if you have very realistic, I guess, textures, you can go with just painting your road with the brush. All you need is just to make some adjustments so the direction of your roads will be properly aligned. I guess, well, this episode is not the final on our landscape. I guess I will have two more. The one for weather integration, and the second one is for the blending between our landscape and our objects put inside our landscape. So here you can add some noise, like let's go with some different strands, and I put the brush somewhere here so you can see the results yourself. So strands just add noise on overall shape, and changing curve tiling actually changes like the whole thing. Also, curl side tiling tool will add some more details. Next, one more useful thing is to use displacement height. It will actually add more distortion based on the height you provide here to all of your landscape brush. I guess I go with some higher values, maybe like this, and you will see that my shape is now like rocky one. So, as I said, it's up to you to play with it. Now we need to blend our inner and outer elements here. For this, it's called smooth blending. You can go with something like this and this. And now you can see that our landscape is perfectly blended with, not with, but on high and bottom sides. Well, now I'll show you how AutoMaterial works one more time. Or let's take another brush here, use it as additive but with uncaped. So I want to have some sort of, yeah, that's the one I was looking for. Shapes to see our snow. So as you can see, on tops of our mountain, it's only snow and there is no grass, like everywhere. Now let's make some changes into the material instance. So changing like snow height, let me just see where it is. rock high, rock snow high. Changing it to some smaller values. Now the snow starts from 1000 units, and let's go with fall of like 500, and you can see that it's covered with more snow. Well, I don't like the result, so let's make it. Now it looks better, and we can also change snow hardness and snow slope angle, like making it from 0.1 to 0.4, and you can see now it looks better. Also with the hardness, if you have 1, it will cover all of it, and changing it to high values leads to more proper results, so you can see that some sort of cavity mask. Also, if you talk about grass thresholds that I told you, right now it's set to 0.5, but if I set to 0.9, you will see that grass starts growing on our hills. To prevent it, set this value to those where it's like, if angle is 0.5, it means it's 45 degrees. Everything higher than 45 degrees won't receive our grass. So if we take that's our, if we go with something like 30 degrees, here you can see we have properly aligned auto material, and now like here and here we have our grass. The reason why it's not right here is because we have the snow fall off. So play around with these values and find the one which suits more. Let me see, I don't see my... Yep. Well, I just found out that my double capture, here I actually have the material instance opened, but let me add it here, so now it will actually work properly. So, as I was saying, this one is just for the snow fall off. If we take it to some lower values like this one, now you can see our grass is up here. So everything works fine. Well, one more adjustment, I guess like this. No, not like this. And snow hardness maybe like this one. No. Well, actually hardness will add some more details. But nevertheless, just play around with it. And as I was saying, let's go quickly to paint mode. And if I use like grass brush here, you can see we have grass applied to our slow. Now if we go with the soil, it will reduce our grass here, and in case you want to have it return to the default state, you can use the auto layer and just paint everything here. So now it's all restored to the first state, the unchanged state. That's how it works. Well, I guess I won't cover the physical material right now here, because it's not working with the auto material in a proper way. So this theme I'll leave on the beta time. And I guess I'll take a quick overlook one more time over the, yes, it's our grass type here. Once you created it, go back to your landscape, add grass output node, and supply each field with the proper grass type. Well, actually that's it. That's how it works, and you can achieve pretty much decent results. I hope you like what you saw. I hope it was interesting and useful for you. Please subscribe, like your video, leave your feedback. Also make requests if you want me to cover some theme, in case you like the way how I do it. So here I am done, and we will see each other very, very soon. Bye.